going to college as a freshman, it's not easy.
Hard.
It's tough,
Hard.
right?
Yes.
And then it even got to the point where our relationship was so strong, me and your relationship, that somebody said, I don't know, it was a child of White say, who you recruiting, his daddy or the son? I don't know if you remember that, but Tyler Wright told me that one
I
day.
do.
He said, I don't know if we're recruiting you or the son, because you harder to recruit than the son. It just, I remember him telling me that because we got back we did the tour and we came back in the room. And Tyler White said, Lo, what you think about Notre Dame? And he was like, I love Notre Dame. I'm like, wait, whoa, wait a minute. So I remember asking y'all to leave the room for a minute and let me talk to them. So
Yeah,
it's just crazy on how that process worked. All right, guys, we're back again on episode 7, and you are listening to Lo on the Listen to Lo show, brought to you by Sweet Fried Production. And like I said once, I'm going to say it again. Remember, it's 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen to Lo, because you never know what you might get to know. It's that simple, guys. I'm going to kick y'all with this nice motivational quote. Tough roads often lead to worthwhile destinations, right? No road is easy. There are bumpy roads. There's obstacles in the road. Sometimes you have to go around the obstacle. Sometimes you try to go straight through the obstacles. But myself, my destination was to live the American dream. Now, I don't know if that American dream was going to be done through sports or just be done through working hard. Well, I tried it working hard. I tried the sports way. Then I had to actually put them all together. Everything I learned through sports was very tough. It was hard work. It wasn't easy. Hard work physically, mentally, and financially for my mom. It was a hard road. It was a hard destination, right? It was hard to get to that destination. And then you got the work aspect of it too now, right? Why? Because I didn't just work in the Orange Grove. I worked at a grocery store. I worked in a nursery. I'm talking about getting home from school, going to work in a nursery. You say, what's a nursery? Not the babies. I'm talking about flowers. I'm talking about plants. I'm talking about in a nursery where the air condition, there's no air conditioning. I'm talking about big fans in the wall. I'm talking about taking plastic to put it over the fan to make the air blow out nice and cool. I'm talking about not 90 degrees, 95, 96, 97 degrees inside a nursery. We're working hard just to make sure at the end of the day, we got the minimum wage. It is not $10. It's not $15 anymore. Back then, it was $4.35. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Tough road often leads to worthwhile destination, because that hard work is what made me who I am today. We said, what you mean by who are you today, Lo? I'm talking about living the American dream. I had that dream to live the American dream. I said I didn't want to wait till I'm 65 years old to retire to live that American dream. I wanted to do it earlier, but I knew I had to go through some tough roads in order to get to that worthwhile destination. So now what? I want to have a home with no mortgage. I want to have a car with no payment. I want to have kids that go through college where I have no debt. I want to make sure there's no medical bills. I want to make sure when I live and get to that final destination, I won't have nothing but insurance. I want to walk out my house with only home insurance. I want to get in my car with only car insurance. I want to use my phone with only phone insurance. That's it. When you can make it that way, that means your destination was worthwhile and living that American dream. And know what? I already see it happening. I thought it was going to be 65, but it's not. It's 10 years ahead of time. At 55, it's done. 65, no. 55, I'm going to live that American dream because I'm going to reach my destination, and I'm going to do it because I know what hard work means. And with that being said, I have someone that come on today that went through the same journey, same road, tough roads. I know it was tough because I've been knowing him. I've been around him. I've seen the journey, right? I heard about the journey. I seen the journey. I seen the destination. I seen where he was trying to get to, and I know where he is right now. And you want to talk about a journey? You want to talk about tough roads? Man, let me tell you something right now. I'm going to break this down right now for my guest speaker that's coming up right now that joined the Listen to Lo show. I'm talking about where it started from, where it's going, and where he at right now. I'm talking about right now, this man coming up right now is, right now, formally right now, the running back coach The running back coach for one of the most prestigious schools in the world. I'm talking about top school, Power 5 right now is my man with the plan. Come on, my friend, Tony Alford. What's going on, Tony?
Am I still on? You can hear me now, Lo?
Oh, there we go. There we go. Sorry, y'all guys, about a little bit of technical difficulty, but I think we all pour it down. We good to go?
I'm good, man. How are you?
All right, man. Thanks for coming in, man. Like I said, once again, this is my guy, Tony Alford, running back coach at University of Michigan currently right now. Tony, I just want to do a quick rundown and make sure I got this
Okay.
right. You played
Okay.
running back at Colorado State. Yeah?
Correct.
Yes?
Yep.
Then,
Yes, sir.
okay, then we start our coaching career after that. But before we start the coaching career, first team, right? All MAC, all WAC, honorable mention All American USA Today, Doak Campbell Award. That's all your accolades. That's some of the great accolades you had as a running back at Colorado
Yes, sir.
State. But then you
Yes,
went to the
sir.
coaching, right? Fort Collins High School. Then you went to Lake Wales High School. Then went to Mount Union, Kent State, Iowa State, Washington, Iowa State, Louisville, the Notre Dame, running back coach, wide receiver coach, Notre Dame. Wow, but this is just getting bigger and better. Then we go to them Buckeyes, Ohio State, and now Michigan State. Man, what a destination that you have done, Tony. How you feel?
Man, I feel great, and I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the kind words, and but now I've been blessed. I came here. I got to Michigan, University of Michigan, 5 weeks ago, Friday.
Wow.
And I'm happy, man. I'm happy. I feel good, and I feel re-energized, if you will. I was at Ohio State for 9 years, and that is a long time, especially in the coaching profession. But it was time to make a change, and but I do, like I said, man, I feel really good, and I'm blessed, man. To I'm blessed to be in the position I'm in, and
Right. Is that
it hasn't come from like you talked. You talked about hard work and whatnot, but I've also been blessed to be around some real good people and that have helped me along my journey and to help keep me grounded, keep me within the lines and guardrails, if you will. But man, life is good. My family's good. My boys are, getting older, and so all is good, man. All is good. My mom, I'm sure she'll be excited when I get to tell her I saw you or talk
yeah,
to you.
that's
So yeah.
yeah, I know. And see, she just had a birthday, right?
Yeah, she just turned 82. She's doing great, and
82. Woo.
she's actually gonna be down in Orlando here next week. To work in those
Oh
cheerleading
man.
camps. Yeah,
We got to make
yeah.
sure I get a chance to see her, right? Get her
We
in
will.
Disney
We'll try to
World.
make those
I know every
connections.
time y'all
Yeah,
come, y'all try to get my mom, get y'all to Disney World. We got the hook up still.
I got you.
And speaking of that, we talk about the relationship, me and you have, and we talk about with the relationship with your mom. And I know that relationship is very important, especially the athlete for Central Florida, especially ones that I know that I have a relationship with that I can actually talk about you as you down here and recruiting these Central Florida athletes too, because we want to go back to when you first pulled up at the University of Notre Dame, right? You start your first day there, and it so happened, me and my son Lowood Jr. is at Notre Dame on an
Right,
official visit, and you
right.
there. So you took over this area, and we didn't know what to expect. We're dealing with another coach, great coach, and we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what going to happen, what change is going to happen. Is a new guy? Is he really going to light low, or is he just taking him just because they say you have to take him? What was this relationship going to be like? So it was rough. It was tough. We didn't know what to expect. But soon as we got there, and you was there waiting on us, automatically I seen the match. Right? I call it like a match made in heaven. Right there. So
That's right.
that relationship started that day. We just walked up. It wasn't. We didn't need time to warm up. Nothing. It was just walk up, the handshake. We shook each other's hand, look each other in the eye. Low did the same thing. When he said his
Right,
name, say his full name, right? Low Wood, right? You say your full
right.
name. So it was just that you see the maturity level and knew right then this is a Notre Dame kid right here. And I
That's right.
knew my son supposed to be there, but it was on you. How do you feel, and do you agree that relationship that we met and Low becoming your first committed athlete at Notre Dame?
Yeah,
How
I
that?
remember it.
Tell me about
Yeah,
it.
I remember that day. Like it was yesterday. Quite frankly, yeah, it was my first guy to get at Notre Dame, and I remember meeting him for the first time, and one of the things we talked about, I remember it. You know, we talked about having unconditional relationships
Mhm.
and organic relationships. I remember telling you something to the degree of, trust is earned. It's not something that you just automatically get because you walked in and said your name, or you walked in with a logo on your shirt, or you say, "I work hard." Hell, everybody works hard, but but it's earned, and it's earned and gained by consistency, and by being a man of your word and doing the things that you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do them. And
Mhm.
it's through the course of time. It's not that instantaneous deal. It's through the course of time, and that's where trust and relationships are built. And and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that your son, um, when he said he was going to do something, he did it, and he didn't waver. And he was a man's man at a very young age, and he had to do the heavy lifting, of course, and he had to do it. But that came from somewhere, and that's why I think it was very important for me to get to know you and to say, okay, well, where's this coming from? And as a young man, at 17, 18 years old, that's going to be leaving home and things of that nature. I want to know why does he think the way he thinks? Why does he say the things that he says? And I think one of the best ways to get to know people is to get to know the people that are around him every day, and who's pouring into their hearts and who's pouring into their souls. And um, like I've always said, these relationships are so big, especially when the young men leave to go to college, as my sons have done and are doing currently. That I want people around them that I can trust. Not I don't want them to be friends with my kid. My sons have friends, but I
Mhm.
want somebody that's going to be an extension of me, and their mother, that's going to help push them and provide and move them and grow them into the next phase of their lives. And that's not a request. When you start talking about someone's child, that's not a request to me. That's a demand. And so if I'm going to demand that someone does that for my children, then I must pay that back too. I must pay them the same respect that we're going to try to move your son to certain areas that maybe he doesn't want to move to, because
Mm.
kids sometimes don't want to move the way we want them to move as parents and older people, right?
Right, right,
So some of those conversations are hard, but I think if the relationship that you and I had, remember, we had some tough times where, hey man, this is not going the way we wanted, or we got to pivot here a little bit, and I think that those relationships that you can have, the more relationships you can have, and everybody speaking the same language, um, can get people aligned properly.
right. I tell you, it's sitting there thinking. I'm like, it's every time when you're talking, I'm going back. I'm like, flashback, flashback.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember. I remember. Right, the tough times, then when the easy time, the time I had to call you and say, "Hey, what's going on?" And the next day,
yeah,
you called me low at my house.
that's it.
Like, what? You the running back coach. He played cornerback. Why he's at your house? Because that what you always said. No matter what position I'm coaching, I recruited him.
That's right.
I recruited him. And that's why I'm gonna make sure I'm there with him all the way through.
That's
These
right.
tough road because going to college as a freshman, it's not easy.
Hard,
It's tough.
hard.
Right.
Yes.
And then it even got to the point where I like our relationship was so strong, me and your relationship, that somebody said, I don't know, it was a child of white say, who you recruiting, his daddy or the son?
That's
I
right.
don't know. I don't know if you remember that, but Tyler Wright told me that one
I
day.
do.
He said, "I don't know if we
I do.
recruiting you or the son, because you harder to recruit than the son." It just because I remember him telling me that because we got back we did the tour and we came back in the room, and Tyler White said, "Lo, what you think about Notre Dame?" And he was like, "I love Notre Dame." I'm like, "Wait, whoa, 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 wait a minute." So I remember asking y'all to leave the room for a minute and let me talk to
Hmm.
them. So
Yeah, I
it's just
remember that.
crazy on how that process worked. Nowadays, Tony, is different. Here's what I
It
know
is.
in 2024. Keep in mind, though, 14 years ago, right, when we're dealing with that, with the transition or recruiting with my son and you, right?
Right.
14 years ago. Now, I don't know, no parents barely even talk to the recruiters. They're always on the tweeting the player DM, DM, DM him. Only time they really talk to the parent when they come on a visit. I, I don't like it. I think it need to stay where you have a relationship with the parent just as strong as have a relationship with the kid. I just feel that way. I know you're not
Yeah.
recruiting the parent. You're really not. But
Well,
why
you
is it
say it not
changing?
low. Yeah, you say that it's changing. It may be changing for some. It's not changing for me. And again, I'm kind of that old guard, if you will, right? And hard to teach an old dog new tricks, so to speak. So
Right.
there has to be some adaptation from my vantage point, but I'm still a firm believer in. I have to talk to the parents. Like I said before, I'm not trying to gain. I don't want a 17, 18, 19-year-old friend. I don't. I got friends all over the place. Um, so I'm still a person that's going to talk to parents all the time, and that has not changed. That's not going to change with me. And um, I think that most parents they appreciate that, even in the era of the transfer portal, in the era of NIL, and in the the social media and the way people are connected now through social media. I still think parents are still appreciative of the fact that they're involved in the recruiting process. Some more than others, but that's by their own choice. Um, but I'm still going to make that a priority to get to know the family members and get close to them, so that when a young man does, whoever he goes to for counsel, whoever's in his sphere of influence, I should say,
Right.
whether it be a parent, a grandparent, whomever it is, I want to know who those people are, because when they go to those people and say, okay, here's what my thoughts are, I want those people to be able to speak educatedly about me, about our institution, our program. And that's not, I'm not talking to parents to try to sell them. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to present this who we are. Here's what we are. Here's who I am and what I am. And if that works for you, then great. If it doesn't, that's fine. And go find what's best for you. I said it back to you years ago, and I still hold true to that. Now, with that all being said, there's another dynamic in place now that there
Okay.
wasn't
Right.
before, and that's the NIL.
Right.
And so that's just another dynamic that's now been thrust into the recruiting process. But I still think at the end of the day, it's relationships are still important, and the growth of young people and the mentorship of young people is still omniimportant. But like I said, some if a family and a kid is chasing the NIL, that's fine. That's their prerogative. Um, but it goes back to, what are you looking for? Every kid, like your son, what at some point in time, you and Lo had to sit down as a family unit and say, here's what we aspire for. Here's what we're trying to get out of the next 4, 5, 10, 40 years. And so then you place your priorities accordingly to what it is
Right.
that you're trying to do. So yeah, but I would say that recruiting hasn't really changed, other than the fact, like I said, there's a couple other more dynamics involved in it, and it's a lot more publicized now.
Right.
Every year
Right.
it becomes more publicized and more in the public eye, and but that's just part of it. At the end of the day, though, it's still about development of young people and kids.
Right. Well, I tell you, have when you agree that having not just a parent in that circle, having someone else that's had the credibility, that has a relationship, but
Yeah.
have the kid and the family best interest in mind, have the passion for it, and putting passion before the money. I'm pointing this out because every time we have a relationship about any kid in Central Florida, my my opinion came from passion, not for nothing else. Cause I
Right.
know I want the best, and then I already know what you were looking for, cause the experience we had. And one thing
Right.
about you recruiting a kid, it was serious. It wasn't no
Right.
games. It wasn't playing around. And the number one question you always should ask me, I don't know if you remember this here, about any kid. This go back when I never forget walking in the mall, and I was talking to you on the phone, and I went, ha ha. And you said, is he interested? Seven Banks, is he interested? All them, that's the question you ask. Why was that so important to know before you offer them, is they interested? Because they can get interested. They probably didn't pay attention to Notre Dame or Michigan or Ohio State. Why was that question so important that what he was
Well,
interested?
because I think it's important, so when you're going in, am I walking into a closed door that's
Mm,
pretty much discerned, that hey, I'm not interested in for instance, in Orlando, I'm not interested in going up north all the way to Indiana. Okay, well, if that doesn't interest you, then I'm not going to waste your time nor mine.
right.
Um, if you aren't, then a lot of kids say, yeah, I'm interested. And then my question is, then why? If you
Mm,
have interest, tell me why. And that's really was it wasn't a I guess you could say it was about yes or no, but really it was about if you say something, I want to know your why. That's if you remember one thing about me, I'm always asking why, why, why,
Right.
why, why.
Right.
And so if you say, yeah, I'm interested, okay, why? Tell me why.
Mm.
And then
Right.
if they got nothing, I'm like, well, then you're really not that interested.
Right.
You got to be able to give me something. Um, and you talked about just the people that I think all not just recruits, not just kids. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about you as at 50. I'm 55. You're 55. I want people around me that they want to be around me and they have my best interest for no other reason than what's in my
Hmm.
best interest. They have nothing to gain and nothing to lose.
Mm.
And those are the people that I think are important to counsel with because, in the recruiting game, you hear people say, "Hey, bro, go here," and they tell them go to this school, and then the next guy over here say, "Go to that school," and then when you go to this school, and then young people are so impressionable and they're pleasers by nature, and they've had these people in their lives around them that have always been, "Oh, that's my guy, and this is my dude," and this, that, and the other, and so they don't want to disrespect them and say, "Well, my uncle said go here, or my dad said go here, or my grandfather said, well, my girlfriend's dad said go here, and my AAU coach said go here, my head coach said go here." And one of the things I always ask kids is like, okay, that's also they're torn, right? They're
Right.
conflicted in their own mind. They're
Right.
torn and conflicted. And I say, well, why don't you ask them this? Two questions. One, if I never played football, if I just stopped today because I just didn't want to play anymore, would you still be my guy?
Mm.
Second question. If I go to the school if I go to your school because you said go there for whatever reasons, if it doesn't work out in my favor, for whatever reason, injury, whatever reason, are you going to be there to pick up the pieces to pay my bills and to help my mom and daddy out?
Oof.
Generally speaking, it's crickets and
Mm.
nobody saying nothing. Versus the person that says, hey, man, I got you. Regardless of what happens to you, I'm going to be in your corner. Those are the people that are there for you. Like I use that word unconditionally. That no matter what happens, I got you.
Mhm.
And I want nothing more than what's best for you. And I don't have any vested interest in it.
Right.
I don't get to go down and brag at the barbershop or at the local pub. Well, that's my dude. And he went over here to such and such school. They don't care. They care about your well being as a young person as you continue to grow. And those are the people that, when my young son was going through this recruiting process, that um, his circles were real tight. Now, man, he's been around it his whole life, right?
Right.
But his
Right.
circles were real tight of who he counseled with. And he said, "Well, so and so," and I said, "Like, I give a dang who is so and so." I use this equation. If you drew a sphere, a circle, and
Okay.
then there's an inner circle, and then there's an out. I did this with your son, if you remember. I said there was an inner circle, and it had four little dots on it. And I said, and every single one of those dots represents one person. And I remember asking him, "Could you tell me something intimate, first, last name, and something intimate about four different people in your life?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely, I could." And I said, "All right." And then I drew a circle. We were in my office. I drew a circle because I still do this to this day. I drew a bigger circle around that circle. I put four dots on that circle, on
Uh-huh.
the bigger circle. And I said, now each one of these dots represents 400 or represents 100 people. There's 400 people now. Could you now tell me first, last name, and something intimate and what those 400 people represent in your life?
Mm.
Well, of course, the answer is no.
Right.
And I said, well, why the hell are you listening to them?
Why you listen to the outer circle?
Why are you
What
listening
are
to
we
outer
doing?
circle? Because they,
But
because they don't matter.
you remember too, Tony. A lot of time the outer circle come when you become that guy.
Absolutely. And so you have to
It,
realize that. And so who are the people at the beginning? Who are the people when you were just some little snotty nosed little kid running around at the park? You didn't you'd rather play in the dirt and kick dirt and throw rocks and skip rocks in the water versus go throw a football because you're a little kid.
right.
You prefer to watch cartoons and play with little army men and Tonka trucks before you would go play ball
Right.
because you're a little kid. Who are those people that are still around you? and
Right.
and and so I just think there's some value in the people in your life helping keep you insulated, especially as you continue to grow. that I think young people they need to be insulated in some regards because they don't know that they're impressionable by nature,
Right.
and not
Well, I
that they're
tell you,
being preyed upon. I don't think anybody wants. I don't. I'd be hard pressed to say that anybody wants anything negative to happen. They're not trying to harm anybody. But I just think it's important to have the people that around you that continually make the main thing,
right,
and keep you grounded. Hell, I'm 55. I still need people in my life to do that.
right.
To say no, 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 no. This is what you're doing now. And just think about when I made this job transition. I needed people around me that didn't care that I was leaving the Ohio State University. They didn't care where I was going. It was just what's best for you. And because there's a lot of noise out there, all you do is turn on social media. There's so much
Yes,
noise,
yeah.
and it's negative and it's toxic
That's
noise.
right. Right.
And just turn on and Google my name. There's a lot going on,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, I mean, first
And
thing I did
but
was
you listen to the people that matter.
right. Well, the first thing I did was congratulations, no matter what.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
I tell people congratulations, flowers, but let's congratulate before a move. That's that relationship. Give
That's
flowers
right.
before the move, right?
That's right.
Every time. And what I mean by that is, I give a flower. My flower is different. I'm like, hey, what's up? You good? How you doing? For me, that's a
Yeah, and
flower.
you've always presented that, and you've always presented that to me as a
Always.
dear friend.
I,
And you call me,
I'm big on
you'll
that. No
call me at
matter what,
times
I call
when,
you.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah, just when it's whenever.
right. I might as well call you and say, I'm gonna call you before you call me. I ain't waiting on you to
That's
call
right.
me. I'm
That's
gonna
right.
call you, right? And I'm gonna call you. I mean, that's just because I know people life. I know they busy, and I want people to understand patience definitely is a virtue. So if you got
Yeah.
the time to go get a coffee, you got time just to text, say hello, how you doing, right? But at the
And
same
those
time,
things,
we
and those are
understand
the
people
people I'm
lifestyle.
talking about. And those are the people I'm talking about, Lo. And I'll say this, publicly. You're a guy that has always been very grounded and helped me keep me grounded. And I quite frankly, you don't care. I mean, I know our relationship started because of Notre Dame, and that's kind of what brought us together.
Right.
Football, your son, Notre Dame, but it's transcended that. And here your son's been out. I mean, your son last year was what 2012 or 13
14.
or whatever it was,
14, yeah,
right?
14.
Yeah, 14, and so I look at that and say, here we are years later, and I don't think Low would care if I coached at a local high school or junior high or in the NFL. It doesn't really care.
Nope. That's how I
You're
feel.
calling, you're checking on me, you're checking on my mom, and those 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 are the people that are important in your lives as you move forward. And I've got a unbelievable amount of appreciation for that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I want, and I think that's why I'm finna flip the script a little bit here.
All right.
When it was all about student athlete and all about scholarships and going to school, going to these schools and get 40-year degree, we call it. When you go to Notre Dame, to Stanford, to Michigan, we all talking about 40-year degree, a life after football. NFL's a dream, a college degree is reality. When we talk about all that there, that was the purpose. That was all about. But now, Tony, things have changed. Now is that I just feel like it's athlete student. I feel like it's Moneyball versus football in all
Yeah.
sports. It's
Yeah.
changing. I mean, you went through a process with your son. You know what it's like. That's so when kids want to talk to you or you offer them a scholarship at Michigan, they gotta understand now that you've been in their shoes, right? So that's the people I want to talk to. That's why I want to hear
That's right.
how that process went with your own son, knowing how hard it is, right?
Well,
How's that
yeah.
process?
Yeah, well, first of all, my son is not a Power Five guy. He's going to go play football at Butler University, great academic institution. He had some priority walk on opportunities at Ohio State and obviously Michigan and some things like that. But he had some opportunities at some MAC schools. But I remembered in the recruiting process with him, and it was just a few months ago that it ended. Um, my biggest thing is I wanted coaches that were going to care about him as a man, and I wanted coaches that were going to help when he walked off of that campus. He was going to walk off better than he did when he walked on that campus. Um, you know, big time student. My sons are good students in school. So as I said the whole time, this is a high academic institution, mind you. But he didn't need. Listen, I told his coach, he doesn't need you to get a degree. He don't need you. He can do that because he don't have any other. He has no choice coming out of here. So academics, he's going to take care of that. And I
Right.
said, quite frankly, I don't care if he plays or not. That's up to him. He will dictate how much he plays by the work that he puts in. I just want to know, are you going to love him and care about him like he's your own?
Right.
And I said that's all I'm really concerned about, and I want
But
him.
Tony, I'm gonna cut you off right here, Tony, because I'm gonna have to because that's the way you thinking.
But that's not most people
Right.
now,
Most people
because
not
but you
thinking
got to
like that,
understand,
Tony.
I'm coming from a different perspective,
Right.
right?
You are. But nowadays, I'm quite sure when you talking to these parents, single mothers, grandmothers still taking care of kids, dads that ain't really making money, they're trying to get money.
Yeah,
It got to be
yeah,
a different approach for them.
yeah.
I
That
mean, I
approach,
remember when
yeah. So
Low
my
came, I
approach, that's
said,
what I was getting
I
at.
want,
Yeah,
I,
my approach is a little different. My approach is a little
right.
different. I think my approach to my children is a little bit different. Now, it's the same, but the messaging is a little different. I think the messaging now is this that in this NIL space, you're going to get your NIL money, right? Some schools you may get more on the front end, but I believe this to be true. So, yeah, you'll get yours and whatnot, but don't chase money.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to chase development. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to get your money on the front end. You'll get some. Some schools may offer you more. Some schools may offer you less. But at the end of the day, if you're that dude, you're that player. Chase chase development. If you chase development, you get developed properly. The money will come chase you.
Gotcha.
For instance,
Gotcha.
everybody says, "Man, I'm gonna go to school here and I'm gonna get a car." Okay, great. Well, let's just talk about Zeke Elliott. Let's just use him
Yeah.
for instance.
But you took the words out of my mouth. Obviously,
Right.
I'm
So
looking
Zeke
here.
Elliott, you're going to give Zeke Elliott a car. Okay, so you entice him with a car. Okay, that's great. Well, Zeke Elliott has been developed, and J.K. Dobbins has obviously been injured, mind you, but Justin Fields, those guys have been developed to the point of they don't need a car; they'll own the whole damn car dealership because they were developed properly. And so I would just challenge people to all money's not good money, right? And now you're going to get yours. It's easy for me to say, but you're going to get yours, but get developed properly, and then that's going to come tenfold.
Gotcha.
I believe. I
Right.
believe now,
I,
but it's easy for me to say because again, I'm not. I'm financially secure. God bless it, and God willing, and so it's a lot easier for me to say, and I understand the plight. I get it, but at the end of the day, I still think it's about going somewhere that's best suited for you. And just because there's you know, 100,000 more dollars, 100,000 more dollars here and there, it sounds like a lot of money, but in the long scheme, it's not.
yeah. So
In the
people want
long
now.
term,
Everybody
they
want
well, yeah,
now.
and that's the world and I can appreciate it because that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
It's
Now.
MySpace, it's iTunes. They want stuff now,
Right.
and
Right.
and I get it. I believe me, I understand, and but that's part of the dynamic in recruiting too. That you got to understand that, and it goes back to about recruiting and understanding who's in the sphere of influence. What are the key factors? Um, is you need to know quickly as a recruiter how much is the NIL important to this particular family, and then once you know that, now are you willing to play in that space or not? And if you're willing to play in that space, then okay, then carry on. If you're not, well, then and you move elsewhere. But in every kid's different, so it's just important to know kind of what's the end game and what are they trying to do. And but that goes back to again relationships and getting to know people and
Correct.
and figuring out the best that you can. Now I've lost some guys to NIL before when I was at Ohio State, and I won't say it's solely in NIL, but I think that was a majority of a few of them, and because I just wasn't in the position, we weren't in a position at that time to really compete in that space. Years ago when this thing first started, but again, I get it, and every situation is different, and I'm not here to play judge and jury. I'm not here to say who's right and who's wrong. Well, a kid shouldn't chase money. a family shouldn't. Well, listen, that might be life changing money for some people. So I'm
Correct.
not here. I'm not here to tell them what they should or shouldn't do. I mean, every family is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I'm still a person that goes about. At some point in time, you still got to go get developed. You still take all that money aside. You still got to go put your hand in the ground and go play.
Right.
At some point in time, you got to put your hand in the dirt.
Exactly. But I tell you this, Tony. I see a lot of parents, they go for the now, and that mean the kid might want to go somewhere because development, but the parent might think it's money. So I can see the stress that this is bringing. The
The
NIL is bringing
struggle.
stress. The portal is bringing stress. Kids that start out with Power Five, they're so stressed. They wait so long. They're going through the process. Don't know what to do. They end up at a smaller school. Kids at a
Yeah.
smaller school upset because he didn't get the money and want to go to
Yeah.
Power Five. He that don't pan out for him. A kid commit to a school, but the problem with them committing to a school is it's easy for them to divorce the school. That's really what throwing me off now too. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a great recruiter. I hear them saying when there's a coach's change, you still stayed at the school because you're a great recruiter. I heard that a lot. I seen that on the Google. Great recruiter. Okay, that's awesome there. So now I'm saying, okay, he's a great recruiter. You're a great husband. You're a great father. You're a great man. You're a great running back coach. You had Zeke Elliott. So we know all that's great. So you're committed to make sure he get them 4 things. But the parent not so committed for that. They say they want that, but as soon as the kid get there and he don't develop as well, or I'm not develop as well, he don't get what he want to get, or he don't get a certain place, they ready to pull, they ready to transfer, they jumping, they
Yeah.
running. I remember
Yeah.
I remember a coach told me this. It was low committed to Notre Dame. Coach Darlington or Pop called me and said, "Hey, Florida State, South Carolina, Ole Miss, all have came today for low." He said, and I told him what you said. I said, "What you told them?" He said, "You told me once he's committed, he's not going to decommit.
You just said
Once he
that.
committed, he's not going to go visit other schools because they're like cheating on your wife." That's
You
why,
did
though,
say
he
that.
said, so he would not let no other school come see low. You're done,
Yeah.
you're done, because we knew that what the purpose. Now, it wasn't no NIL money, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it all panned out at the end. But
That's
they're
right.
not like that anymore. They don't care.
I think some are. I think some are. There's some. There's some. I think you don't hear about them because again, you think about all the kids that are being recruited that you don't even know about, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and so you hear. So what do you hear? You hear about stuff on social media. So that becomes the big story, and it's
Yes,
click after
right.
click after click. So it's just I equate it to. I would bet you there's more that do commit and stay committed than don't
You
in the
think
large
so?
scale. I do. I do. I do. I just think those are the ones you hear about, the high profile kids that you hear about. I haven't done a study, obviously, but I'm of the opinion, man. There's more doing it the right way versus the other in all facets.
But is
You know,
that, Tony?
you.
Is that because the ones that doing it the right way, in a sense, right way for us
I won't
is
say the right way.
student
That's probably
athlete,
the wrong word. Yeah,
right?
it's probably the
But
wrong
but
word to
then
say right way.
right, but okay. So the other ones that's doing it, it's only so many Power Fives. It's only so
Right.
many guys gonna get the 150,000, the two hundred
That's
thousand that
right.
we're hearing that everybody
That's
get it.
right.
So but there's 99 on a football team. 99 on a football team.
Ain't
So
99
all
ain't
thing
getting
we're
that.
hearing about is 10.
That's my
The
point.
other
That's my
89,
point.
right? So that's what people not
That's my
hearing. So
point.
they so busy trying to chase, right? You're a 3-star, you're a 2-star, you're not a 4 or 5 power guy. You don't have the international offers. I call it the international offers where you got 30, 40, 50 offer. You're an international player. You're a local player. You're a regional player, or you got a couple Power Fives and you fit right in there at the end, right in at the bottom right there. So you got in. So them guys right there, they going to be a student athlete. They get a little benefits, get a little money here and there, but you're not going to get the brand money, the big money, right? No one is talking about them guys. And I think that's why the parents are chasing the Power Five. My son went to a camp and he dominated him 5 times. My son went to a track meet and he beat him in 100 meters. But they looking at that point instead of looking at, yeah, but this boy here is 6'2". Your son 5'9".
Listen, my
This
son's
boy hit
5'8".
190. Your
My
son
son's 5'8",
160.
low.
Huh?
He's 5'8". He had 90 catches. He can run, but he's 5'8". And I remember him laying in his bed one night. I got home. I was during the season. I got home. It was 11:15 at night, and I go upstairs and you know getting ready to go to bed, and I could hear something in his room. Like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I go in his room, and he's got his face in his pillow, sobbing. He's 18 years old now,
Right.
sobbing like a baby, like an infant. And I'm like, dude, what happened? He's like, I just got a call from a certain school that he thought he has a chance to get a scholarship, and the coaches had just informed him, 20 minutes earlier through a text message or whatever, that they weren't going to give him a scholarship. And he's crying. I'm like, well, what's the issue here? And he said, I've worked so hard, and this is my dream school. This is where I wanted to go. For whatever his reasons were, that's where he wanted to go, and it was a MAC school. And I remember him crying. He's like, I worked so hard, and why don't they like me? And I'm better than this guy that they signed, and I'm better than that guy that they signed or committed. And I remember I made him sit up in bed, and I said, brother, you never have to apologize for someone not coveting you. I said, man, you have you worked as hard as you can work? Yes, sir, I have. Have you done all the things you possibly could do as a teammate, as an individual player, as a friend, all those things? Have you done everything you possibly could do? No stones unturned. He said, yes, sir, I have. I said, then okay, then that just wasn't in the cards then.
Right.
And I said, and that's not an indictment on you. I said, brother, you have to be secure with who you are in your own skin and not worry about what's on social media, who got what and who didn't get what. You at the end of the day will get what you're supposed to get. And be proud of who you are and what your name is and what you stand for. You be proud of that. And don't be mad at that school that didn't take you. They were just looking for something else at that time. And I said, and that's okay, because that's their organization. That's their business plan that they got to work through. Well, now you got a business plan you got to work through. And so, I think people are chasing these dreams, but why? Remember I asked that question earlier. Why, why,
What's your
why?
why?
Why do you want that school? Is it because of what? And just because it's the logo or there's more money, is that what's best for you?
Correct.
And why, another question to be asked is, why do they want you? I mean, how are they going to do? I mean, I think it's good to ask coaches, how are you going to develop me? Is this all football related? Are you going to do more for me than just throw me the ball or have me backpedal and break? And what's really going on here? What's the real transaction that's taking place?
Right.
And so that was my message to my son. But again, I'm gonna say it again. I look at things from a different perspective because again, I played. Now I've been coaching for 30 years, so I've been at this. So I got a whole different perspective.
I agree.
My sons, my children are they. We don't want for much. You talked about living that dream, right? And at the start of your show, and where you're financially stable and secure to do some things. So we've been very fortunate. We are too, and so. And we told myself, bro, I don't need you to get a scholarship. You're good. We'll pay for
Right.
school. We don't need all that,
Right.
But it was more for him. It was more ego generated, and I understand. I understand. I get it.
But
But
so, but so they go
just I
back to what I
think
was
it's
saying about a tough road, right? Tough
yeah,
road often lead to worthwhile destination. Now, guess what? You're
that's
going to
right.
college, a great academic
Yeah,
school, going to play some
that's
football.
right.
Hey, he landed his destination right now, and what
That's
do he
right.
do with it? To start a
He
whole
wants
new
to go be a
journey.
doctor, and he wants to go be a doctor. And at the end of the day, when I wanted to go to the NFL and do all these grandiose things, and like you said, I was in college. I believe I had a really good college career for me. But and I set some records and things of that nature at the time. Um, but now you look back, that was what, like 30, 35 years ago, or whatever the heck it
Right.
was. You
Right.
know who cares about? The only person who really cares about that? Mom, 82-year-old mother. No one else even knows or cares.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
it's such a small time. It's such a small snippet of time. So in that time frame, what are you gaining for the rest of your life? And I try to impose that upon people all the time. Like, where are we going? But it has changed. You don't really even talk about academics anymore in recruiting. Remember when I talked to you, talked about this great degree at Notre Dame? We don't
Right.
even really
Correct.
talk about the degree anymore. It's all about NIL and NFL.
I know. So
That's
wait.
all it is.
So it coming back. There it is again. You just did it again. I'm telling you, every show we talk about on Listen to Low, it's all about, okay, what is it? It's an athlete student now. You see that? That's what's starting to change. That's the Moneyball football,
Changing.
Moneyball
It's
basketball,
changing.
Moneyball volleyball, and I think that's a wrong road that we're going down, to my opinion. But then again, like I say, it helps some and it don't.
Well,
But
you say it's the
it,
wrong road. You say it's a wrong road, but Lo, we've already kicked the can down the road, and it's not coming back.
yeah, right. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yo yeah.
You know,
Hey,
the
hey,
can has
this
been
hey.
kicked down the road,
You
brother.
seen that movie? You seen that movie, Wrong Turn?
So,
Hey, they still trying to find that road to get back to go the other way. They took the
well,
wrong turn, but
here for me personally, here's the rewards of it. I talked to your son today. I talked to Lo Junior today. I spent 35 minutes on the phone with J.K. Dobbins yesterday. Just for those two, for instance, in the past 24 hours, and the sheer fact that they're doing great things, they're fulfilled in their lives. Your son's out there in L.A. doing his thing. J.K. Dobbins is still in the NFL, but he's got a wonderful little boy that he's caring for and omnipresent in his life. And so for me, I'm like, okay, then we're winning.
right,
Those
we're
two
winning.
particularly, and there's so many
Yeah.
more like them, but they're winning. And the sheer fact that they're calling and they're talking to me about that, and like J.K. was saying, Coach, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, what you presented to me in my life as a coach and a father figure and things. That's affirmation for me to say, okay, I talk about are my messages being met,
Right.
and so wherever like we talk about kicking the can down the road, wherever that road is leading and headed, those still things are still coming back to be of importance, and so for that, I'm grateful, and like I said, you adapt where you got to adapt.
Exactly. Got to adapt. I was speaking of adapt. I had a kid that committed to the school, and he committed from just love the school, passionate, love it, want to be at the school. He committed on just straight committed, not no. He didn't commit on money. He didn't commit on NIL. He didn't commit on none of that. He just committed to school. He want to be at the school. They accept his commitment. He's right there, ready to go. He lined up and getting in. The other factors start stepping in. Fifth year guy came back. I thought you were going to NFL. A guy transferred in. He's a freshman. He competing. Now he beat him in all the drills. He's strong. They got a little more experience, because experience do win. But at the same time, he's learning. He's fast. He's in the room. He's in the film room. He's doing his study. First one there. Last one lead. Strong. Strong is on the team. Already as a freshman. Came in benching 400. Squatting 550. Right? He get there. Didn't play but special team. Got a couple plays. Didn't red shirt. And now he's saying, did I make a right decision? Right? No, did I make the right decision coming here? Not just straight up all being a student athlete. And now he's saying, you know what? I want to transfer. I want to go in the portal after the first year, right? Okay. But now I said, let me do my part. Let me go to work. Let me call some guys. I get on before you even go in the portal, right? I mean, I'm just the back doorway, right? I'm just called out. No one will touch him on the same level he at Power 5. Okay, because they said, do you have film? Well, wait a minute. He's a 4-star guy. He
Yeah.
had 22 offers coming in. It was just a semester ago. So now you done made that decision. You thinking because they're thinking, oh, in high school, I was this coming out. I was this, I was that. Every school asking me, do we got film? Do we got film? Why are they asking that question? Why are they asking that question? Do he have film? And he just can't. He only been out of high school a semester, and he had 25 offers. He in a Power 5
Because they're
school.
wondering why
Why
it's
they
not
want to know
playing.
that? Why not
Because
just
they're
take
wondering,
him? You wanted him a semester
well,
ago?
you want to know if there's something wrong. Maybe they missed.
Mm.
Maybe they missed. And he went over here and he's not playing. Why not? Why is he not playing? Is there something wrong? Especially after a semester and you're already trying to leave.
Mm.
They can look at why? What happened?
Why?
Now, 2, 3 years into it, then okay, that's one thing. But after a semester and after 6 months and you're all ready to pack your bags, why? Did we miss something as far as you as a player? Did we miss something as far as your mental makeup and tenacity and willingness to when things get hard and maybe not going your way, that you're still going to stay in there and swing and fight? Or are you a guy that's not going your way, so you're going to just turn and run? And I'm going to go for greener pastures because it's not going my way. And so that's why they got it out. They got to do the research once again as to what's at the core of all this kid leaving. And I do think the transfer portal is good for some. I do. I think it's good for
Gotcha.
some. I also think it can be negatively used because, as I said before, when something doesn't go your way, are you apt to just turn and run because you don't like the lot that you're in? The coach yelled
Gotcha.
at me. The coach isn't playing me. So true, I'm going to leave. Well, if you do that all the time, that becomes a microcosm of how you live your life. Because at some point in time, you're going to have a problem with your spouse, your girlfriend. She can do something. You can do something that somebody doesn't like, or somebody's made you angry. And so, what do? You turn and run.
Oh, he'll
Your
run on.
job, something happens at your job. What happens? You turn and you quit. Well, because why? Because that's what you've been trained to do. When it gets tough and it's not going your way, when you want it to go your way at in your time frame, if you've been trained to just turn and go to the next spot, that's you always running. At some point in time, you got to set your feet and dig your heels in the dirt and say, all right, it's not going my way right now, but I'm gonna keep swinging and swinging and swinging and cracking the rock, so to speak, until I make it go my way.
So go back to that quote: "Tough road
Tough
often leads to
road.
worthwhile destination." Tony, that's what it is right there.
So it all
Tony,
comes back. It all comes back. It all comes back. And
Tony.
once again, I remember when I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave Colorado State after my sophomore year. I wanted to leave. I remember I called my dad. I said, "Dad, I want to go to Nebraska." They recruited me out of high school, this, that, and the other. And my dad was like, "You ain't going to any damn place." And I was like, "Yeah, but." He's like, "This conversation is a wrap. You're staying. You're behind right where you're at." And boy, am I glad I did. But it wasn't because of a choice. I was a young kid who was going to run. And my dad was like, "No, that's not what we're doing. You can stay in here. You can figure out how to get better." And now and again, that was what was best for me. I just didn't know it at the time. But I was insulated. I had people around me. Remember, I talked about
Correct.
that sphere of influence,
That
right?
spirit. Yes,
That
yes,
sphere of
yes.
influence, and my sphere of influence is like, no. Versus other people on the outside, like, yeah, go, bro, go do this. Yeah, you getting screwed over here. They're not playing. You should go do this. But the people that were on the inner circle were like, you can learn. You can learn right now how to stand in there and fight
Yeah. So to
right now,
sound
because that
up,
was the
sum
first
it.
time. That's the first time I'd ever been told no, as far
Right.
as sports was, as far as football went,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to stand in there and swing and fight.
So to sum it up, Tony, is making choices, make sure that they can develop you. Whether even they give you 150,000 or they give you this regular 10,000, they're just giving you money every month. You still want to be developed as a man, as
And a
a as a
player,
as a as a as I don't want to just say develop as a football player. I keep going back to what I wanted for my son, right? Because I promise you, I didn't have no one develop me as a man, a
yeah,
husband, a father. I
that's
didn't
fair.
have that. I didn't have that man.
That's fair.
But Lowe
Right,
did
right.
have it, and so it was tough for me. But at the same time, he had it. So the parents got to want them to go out, come out there, to come out being a good man one day, a good father, good
That's right.
husband, good football player, all in together, successful college graduate, or hey, or best of both worlds, NFL and a college graduate. They have the
Why
best of
can't you
both
do them
worlds,
both? Get both.
doing
That's right.
both at the same time. You've been recruiting, doing this thing for 30 years. You coach under some great coaches, Urban Myers, right? You're with Charlie White, Brian Kelly. These guys don't competed in the national championship games. So you there on everyone on the highest level of college football. One of the best recruiter to get it done. Still got a relationship with all your players, a lot of your players. You just say you talk to Dob, you talk to Zeke, you talk to Lowe. I mean, it's great to have a coach like you that's still out there, that genuine, have the passion for the youth athlete, the kids out there that want to go to college. And I'm glad to have you on the show. I'm glad you came through and blessed us with your knowledge, the nuggets, the passion, the words of wisdom. I'm talking about it gets no better than this right here. To have a Power 5 coach who's been doing this for a while. And I definitely thank you for coming on.
Well, man, I appreciate you for having me, and you know, I appreciate the compliments, but I got to be honest with you, brother. There's so many people that aren't Power 5 coaches. There's so many great people out there that want to help young people. They just have to be. Those people just have to be willing to listen.
Right.
That everybody that crosses your path, there is a message. Some of them may be bad messages, so you don't want to use that message. But there's others that's really good, and you know, like I said, I just think that the fact that some of the schools I've been to have allowed me to gain your attention. And so now that I got your attention, it allows me to deliver messages. But there's so many other. I mean, I just think about some of the high school coaches that are out there that are some of the best coaches I've ever been around, and have these unbelievable messages and a message of hope and goodness for young people. They just have to be willing to receive the messaging. And but again, brother, I appreciate you, man. Love you, always have, and I'm grateful for you, man. And just want to tell you thank you.
Well, I sure appreciate it. Guys, as you heard it right here on the Listen to Low Show, episode 7. And remember what we said, 2 ears, 1 mouth. The quote today was, tough road often leads to a worthwhile destination. And we can't wait to see you for the next episode 8. Thank you, guys. And remember, Sweet Fire Production, and follow us, like us, subscribe to us on YouTube at Camp King 12, Camp with a K. Thank you again, and I'm Coach Low for life.